Galactic Council shocked when humans attack back. Human warships swarmed the Elgin homeworld, unleashing a firestorm of missiles and laser blasts that lit up the night sky. The peaceful Elgin species had been framed for a brutal attack on a human colony, and now they were feeling the full force of humanity's wrath. Just days earlier, Captain Timothy Porter had been on the sprawling Galactic Council space station, astounded by the advanced technology and diverse alien species he encountered. But beneath the surface, he sensed an undercurrent of condescension from many of the delegates, who viewed humans as primitive upstarts. During the formal induction ceremony welcoming Earth to the Council, Porter noticed a heated exchange between Taurus, the Kazan ambassador who had invited humanity to join, and representatives from the powerful Elianis race. Afterward, Taurus confided that not all Council members were thrilled about humanity's arrival. Suddenly, alarms blared as news reached the station that a human colony had been attacked, with thousands feared dead. Security footage seemed to implicate the pacifist Elgins, but Porter was suspicious, recalling Taurus's earlier warning. Many Council members dismissed humanity's concerns, believing their anger was clouding their judgment. They assured Porter the Council would handle the investigation and advised against any rash retaliation. But Porter had already learned of the secret human warfleet, hidden from the galactic community, that was now unleashing hell on the Elgin homeworld. The Council was about to be shocked to discover humanity's true military capabilities, and Porter had to decide whether to warn them or let the chips fall where they may. The confrontation to come would either cement humanity's place in the cosmos or lead to a devastating interstellar war. As the human warships unleashed their devastating assault on the Elgin homeworld, Captain Timothy Porter watched the chaotic scenes unfolding on the interfaces aboard the Galactic Council space station. The once pristine cities of the pacifist Elgins burned under the onslaught of human missiles and laser fire. Porter's eyes hardened as he saw the destruction, but he held firm to his decision not to warn the Council about the incoming attack. In the Council chambers, emergency alarms blared as frantic delegates rushed to their seats. The Elgin representative, a slender, ethereal being named Lyris, stumbled into the room, her translucent skin pulsing with distress. "Please, you must stop this madness," she cried out. "My people are innocent." Admiral Zoltar, the Iliani delegate, rose from his seat, his dark eyes fixed on Porter. "You see what your kind has wrought?" he snarled. "Humans are nothing but warmongers, unfit to be part of this council." Porter met Zoltar's gaze unflinchingly. "The Elgins were framed, Admiral. We have evidence that points to a conspiracy within the council itself. Until we uncover the truth, we will defend ourselves as necessary." As the debate raged on, human Marines stormed the Elgan capital, securing key installations with ruthless efficiency. The Elgan defense forces, woefully unprepared for the humans' advanced tactics, crumbled under the assault. In orbit, the once proud Elgan fleet drifted in ruins, shattered by the might of human battlecruisers. Ambassador Taurus watched the proceedings with a mix of admiration and concern. He had long suspected the Elgins were innocent, and he quietly set about his own investigation into the frame-up. As he delved deeper, he uncovered encrypted communications between Eliani agents and the colony attackers, pointing to a shadowy group known as the Obsidian Order. On the surface of the Elgin homeworld, human-occupying forces began to uncover further evidence of the Elgins' innocence. Encrypted data drives and hidden comm logs painted a picture of a vast conspiracy orchestrated by the Elianas to discredit and destroy the pacifist race. Porter prepared to present this evidence to the Council, knowing it would send shockwaves through the galactic community. The humans' actions had already polarized the Council, with some species expressing support for Earth's position, while others condemned their aggression. As the Council reconvened for another emergency session, the atmosphere was electric with tension. Porter strode to the center of the chamber, a data drive clutched in his hand. "Esteemed delegates," he began, his voice ringing out in the silence, "I come before you with proof of a great injustice. The Elgins are innocent, and the true culprits behind the colony attack are none other than—" Porter's words hung in the air as all eyes turned to the Eliani delegation. Admiral Zoltar's face contorted with rage, his hand reaching for the blaster at his side. The galaxy teetered on the brink of a new era, one in which old power structures would be challenged and the role of humanity forever changed. The confrontation that followed would test the very fabric of the galactic order, and the fate of billions hung in the balance. The true culprits behind the colony attack are none other than the Alayani Obsidian Order, Porter declared, his voice echoing through the council chamber. A cacophony of gasps and shouts erupted as he activated a holographic display, projecting damning evidence for all to see. Encrypted communications, financial transactions, and surveillance footage painted a clear picture of the Obsidian Order's involvement in the attack and subsequent framing of the Elgins. Admiral Zoltar's face contorted with fury. "Lies! Human fabrications!" he bellowed, rising from his seat. "You dare accuse us to cover your own barbaric actions?" Porter stood his ground. "The evidence speaks for itself, Admiral. We found this on the Elgin homeworld, and I assure you it's authentic." As accusations flew back and forth, the council chamber descended into chaos. Species that had long chafed under Eliani influence rallied behind the humans, while others demanded Earth's immediate expulsion from the council. Amidst the pandemonium, Ambassador Taurus maneuvered through the crowd, his antennae twitching with nervous energy. He approached the central podium and activated the emergency broadcast system, his amplified voice cutting through the din. "Esteemed delegates, please. We must not let emotion cloud our judgment. I propose a joint Human Council task force to investigate these allegations thoroughly." Porter seized the opportunity. "We agree to the task force, but on one condition. The Council must undergo significant reforms. The current system allowed this conspiracy to fester. We need greater transparency, accountability, and representation for all species." The chamber erupted once more, but this time with a mix of approval and outrage. Smaller races, long marginalized by the Council's power structure, voiced their support for Porter's demands. The Elianas and their allies, however, bristled at the suggestion. As the debate raged on, Porter noticed Admiral Zoltar slip away, speaking urgently into a concealed communicator. The human captain's eyes narrowed, suspecting the Eliani were already mobilizing their forces. Over the next few days, the task force began its work, uncovering a web of conspiracies that reached far beyond the colony attack. Porter and Taurus worked tirelessly, following leads and connecting dots that pointed to a massive Eliani plot to dominate the galaxy. Their investigation led them to a hidden Obsidian Order facility on a remote moon. As they sifted through mountains of data, Taurus stumbled upon an encrypted file that made his blood run cold. "Captain Porter," he called out, his voice trembling. "You need to see this." Porter hurried over, his eyes widening as he scanned the decrypted contents. The Obsidian Order's plan was far more insidious than they had imagined, involving manipulated council members and a carefully orchestrated series of crises designed to throw the galaxy into chaos. "We need to get this information to the council immediately," Porter said, his teeth clenched. As they raced back to the council station, reports flooded in of Eliani fleet movements and covert operations across multiple sectors. The galaxy teetered on the brink of war, with humanity thrust into the center of a cosmic power struggle. Porter strode into the council chamber, the weight of the galaxy on his shoulders. As he prepared to present their findings, he locked eyes with Admiral Zoltar, who wore a sinister smirk. The human captain knew that the next few moments would shape the course of galactic history for generations to come. Captain Porter's impassioned presentation to the council fell on deaf ears. As he finished speaking, the chamber erupted into a cacophony of shouted accusations and denials. Admiral Zoltar stormed out, flanked by his security detail, while other delegates huddled in heated discussions. Porter exchanged a knowing glance with Ambassador Taurus. They had anticipated this outcome, and now it was time to enact their contingency plan. "We're on our own," Porter said quietly as they exited the chamber. "Initiate Protocol Omega." Taurus nodded, his antennae twitching with anticipation. Within hours, encrypted messages raced across subspace channels to key allies. The Kazan, Elgins, and several smaller species had already pledged their support to counter the Eliani threat. On the bridge of his flagship, the UES Defiant, Porter surveyed the assembled fleet. human warships bristled with advanced weaponry, while Kazon cruisers took up flanking positions. The once pacifist Elgins had contributed their fastest courier ships, now retrofitted for electronic warfare. All ships, this is Captain Porter. Commence Operation Shattered Mirror. The fleet surged forward, emerging from hyperspace near a critical Eliani shipyard. Porter watched the tactical display as coalition forces fanned out, targeting key facilities and defensive emplacements. "Sir, we're detecting multiple Eliani signatures on an intercept course," his tactical officer reported. "Hold the line," Porter ordered. "We just need to keep them occupied long enough for the ground teams to complete their mission." On the planet's surface, human Marines and Elgin commandos moved swiftly through the shadows of massive dry docks. They planted demolition charges on power generators and command nodes, then melted away before Eliani security forces could respond. As the coalition fleet engaged the Eliani defenders in orbit, Ambassador Taurus worked tirelessly in the diplomatic arena. He shuttled between neutral worlds, presenting evidence of the Obsidian Order's machinations and appealing for support. On Xandar Prime, Taurus addressed a gathering of influential council members. "The central leadership has been compromised," he argued passionately. "We must withdraw our support and demand reforms before it's too late." His words struck a chord. Within days, protests erupted across a dozen worlds as citizens demanded action against the Obsidian Order. The Elianis, caught off guard by the sudden offensive, retaliated with brutal efficiency. Admiral Zoltar, his eyes blazing with fury, ordered devastating strikes against coalition-aligned colonies. "Burn their worlds," he snarled to his fleet commanders. "Show them the price of defiance." The conflict escalated rapidly. In the Outer Rim, massive fleets clashed in a series of running battles. Human and Kazon ships fought side by side against Eliani dreadnoughts, space lit by the silent fury of energy weapons and nuclear fire. On Earth, Admiral Marcus strode purposefully through the gleaming halls of Homeworld Defense Command. Holographic displays showed the unfolding conflict across multiple sectors. "I want every mothballed ship reactivated," he barked to his staff. "Strip the lunar colonies if you have to. We need those materials for planetary defense platforms." Marcus's elite strike teams deployed across Eliani-controlled space, targeting fuel depots and supply convoys. These surgical strikes wreaked havoc on Eliani logistics, buying precious time for the coalition to solidify its positions. Admiral Zoltar, growing increasingly desperate, launched a propaganda offensive. He broadcast impassioned speeches across neutral systems, painting humans as bloodthirsty conquerors bent on galactic domination. "The savages from Earth seek not justice, but power," he declared. "Stand with us now, or watch as they consume world after world." His words sowed doubt among fence-sitting species. The conflict threatened to engulf the entire galaxy as more factions chose sides. Aboard the Defiant, Porter received Taurus's urgent transmission. "We need to make one last appeal to the Council," the ambassador insisted. "If we can't stop this escalation, we're looking at total war." Porter nodded grimly. "Set course for Galactic Central. We'll give diplomacy one more chance." As the Defiant raced towards the Council station, reports flooded in of a massive Eliani fleet massing near the Arcturus system. The strategically vital star cluster could turn the tide of the war if it fell. Porter knew the coming battle would be decisive. If they could break the Eliani offensive, it might force Zoltar to the negotiating table, but failure would leave Earth exposed and shatter the fragile coalition. The captain's fists tight as he considered the monumental task ahead. He had one chance to sway the Council before committing everything to the looming confrontation at Arcturus. Arcturus. As Porter uttered the word, his tactical display lit up with dozens of new contacts. The massive Eliani fleet had shifted course, now bearing down on the Denari system. "All hands, battle stations," Porter ordered, his voice steady despite the gravity of the situation. "Set course for Denari Prime. Maximum warp." The Defiant surged forward, leading a ragtag coalition of human, Kazon, and Elgan vessels. Porter knew they were outnumbered, but retreat wasn't an option. Denari's strategic importance couldn't be overstated. As they dropped out of warp, the scale of the conflict became apparent. Elayani dreadnoughts loomed against the backdrop of Denari's azure skies, their weapons already firing on the planet's orbital defenses. "Sir, incoming transmission from Earth," the communications officer reported. Admiral Marcus's hologram materialized on the bridge. "Captain, I've committed every available asset to this fight. Hold the line at Denari. Humanity's future depends on it." Porter nodded grimly. "Understood, Admiral. We won't let you down." The battle erupted in earnest, space igniting with the fury of energy weapons and nuclear fire. Coalition ships darted between the lumbering Elayani vessels, striking hard and fading away before concentrated return fire could lock on. On the bridge of his flagship, Admiral Zoltar sneered at the tactical display. "Crush them," he ordered. "Show these upstarts the true might of the Elayani Empire." But even as Zoltar's forces pressed their advantage, a daring operation was unfolding behind enemy lines. Commander Ramirez, leading a team of Earth's most elite operatives, had infiltrated a key Elayani shipyard. "Charges set," Ramirez whispered into her comm as her team worked swiftly in the shadows of massive dry docks. Initiating countdown. The resulting explosion crippled the shipyard, sending shockwaves through the Elayani war effort. Zoltar raged as reports of sabotage flooded in, realizing his reinforcements would be delayed indefinitely. Back in the Denari system, the tide of battle shifted. Porter's tactical genius and the raw perseverance of the coalition forces began to tell. Elayani capital ships burned, their hulls breached by precision strikes. But victory came at a terrible cost. The bridge of Taurus's flagship erupted in flame as a direct hit from an Elayani dreadnought tore through its shields. The ambassador's final transmission was cut short, leaving only static. Porter allowed himself a moment of grief for his fallen friend before refocusing on the battle. "Target Zoltar's command ship," he ordered. "All batteries, fire at will." As coalition forces closed in for the kill, Zoltar made a fateful decision. "Deploy the Omega strain," he commanded, his eyes gleaming with malice. "Let them choke on their victory." Horrific reports began to flood in from Denari Prime and surrounding colonies. A virulent pathogen spread like wildfire, decimating entire populations in a matter of hours. The death toll climbed into the billions as the bioweapon ran its course. Coalition forces reeled from the shock, but their willpower hardened. There could be no surrender now, not in the face of such monstrous tactics. "All ships," Porter's voice rang out, tight with controlled fury. "Form up on the Defiant. We end this, now." In a daring maneuver, Porter's battle group cut through the chaos of the main engagement, flanking Zoltar's retreating armada. Caught between the hammer of Earth's finest and the anvil of the remaining coalition fleet, the Elayani force was shattered. As the last Elayani ship fell silent, an eerie calm settled over the Denari system. The price of victory became painfully clear as Ramirez's team returned with footage from the surface. Barren, lifeless worlds where billions had thrived only hours before. Porter stood on his bridge, looking out at the field of debris that had once been two mighty fleets. The path ahead was uncertain, but one thing was clear: the galaxy would never be the same.
You have reached the end of the story. If you enjoyed this story and want to support us, please leave a like and subscribe to our channel, and for every comment that says 88, I will heart every single one of them. Thank you for your time.